All right, let's dive into one of the most famous love stories ever told, the first meeting of Isaac and Rebekah. But we're going to explore it in a way you've probably never heard before. Think of it as the director's cut.
So you probably know the basic story, right? Abraham's servant goes on this big mission to find a wife for Isaac. He says a prayer at a well. Rebekah shows up right on cue, passes the test, and they all go home. It all seems so neat, almost too perfect.
But what if I told you that simple, clean version misses all the real drama? What if, hidden between the lines, there's a version packed with angelic interventions, intense negotiations, and a heroine with a will of pure iron?
To find that story, we've got an inside guide. We're going to use the notes of the master commentator himself, Rashi. Think of him as our director, giving us the behind-the-scenes commentary that reveals what was really going on in every single scene.
Okay, so our first big plot twist happens at Rebekah's house. The servant has made his pitch, he's handed out all these amazing gifts, and he's all set to head out with Rebekah the next morning. The deal is done. Or so he thinks, because that's when her family steps in and throws a wrench in the works.
Her brother and her mother step forward to negotiate. They're like, whoa, hang on a second, let's delay this thing. And that right there, that should raise a huge red flag.
Hold on, her brother and her mother? Where's Dad? Where's Bethuel? I mean, this is a massive deal for his daughter's future. In that culture, he should be front and center, leading the charge. But nope, he's just gone, vanished from the story right at the most critical moment. So what gives?
And here's where Rashi just drops an absolute bombshell. He says, Bethuel's absence? It's no accident. It was a full-on supernatural event. Apparently, Bethuel actually tried to sabotage the whole marriage. So an angel intervened, and, well, let's just say he was removed from the equation. Poof, gone. Divine intervention just cleared the way.
But the drama doesn't stop there. Rashi also decodes what the family is really asking for. They say let her stay for Yamim, or 10. Now, to you and me, that sounds like, hey, give us a few days, maybe 10 at the most. But Rashi's like, nope, you're missing the code. See, Yamim here doesn't just mean days, it means a whole year, the standard time for a bride to get her trousseau ready. And 10, that means 10 months. So this isn't a small delay. They're trying to push this wedding off by at least 10 months.
So now we've got a serious stalemate. The servant is saying, I have to leave now, and the family is digging in their heels for year-long delay. The whole deal is about to collapse, and that's when they decide to do something, well, something pretty shocking for the time.
They turn to Rebekah. They actually ask her. And you've got to understand just how radical this was. This just didn't happen back then. Young women had basically zero say in who they married. So the fact that they're even asking her, it just shows you how desperate they really were.
And for Rashi, this moment is huge. It's not just a plot point, it's a foundational, game-changing moment. He says that right here, from this one verse, a core principle of Jewish law is born. A woman cannot be married against her will. Her consent is everything. It's an incredible, almost modern idea of personal agency, and it comes from right here in this story.
So they put it to her, straight up, will you go with this man? And her answer? It's immediate, it's decisive. It's just one powerful Hebrew word, elech. I will go.
But Rashi tells us to listen closer. It wasn't just what she said, it's how she said it. This wasn't a quiet little, yes, no way. This was a declaration of independence. She was basically saying, I am going, of my own free will. And frankly, it doesn't matter if you object. Boom, mic drop. The debate is over.
And just like that, she's off on the journey to her new life. Which brings us to the climax, the moment we've all been waiting for, the very first time she and Isaac meet.
Okay, so picture the scene. It's late afternoon. The sun is getting low, and as Rebekah's caravan appears over the horizon, Isaac is out in the field. The text uses this really specific, kind of unusual Hebrew word to describe what he's doing, lasuak.
Now, this word lasuak could mean a few things, like to meditate or just to talk. But Rashi pins it down for us. He says no. In this context, it means to pray. So think about that. Isaac isn't just out for a casual stroll. He's in the middle of a deep, spiritual moment. This detail changes everything. Their meeting is happening on sacred ground, you could say.
And then, from up on her camel, Rebekah looks up and sees him. It's the very first time their eyes meet. And her reaction is immediate, and it is profound.
Rashi again gives us the color commentary. He says she saw Isaac's lordly appearance, this incredible sense of majesty, like he was literally glowing with spiritual energy from his prayer, and she was just struck with astonishment. She knew in that single instant that this was no ordinary man.
Vatipal, which literally means, and she fell off the camel. And it's so easy to picture this awkward, clumsy tumble, right? But Rashi steps in and says, no, you're reading it all wrong. This wasn't a fall, it was a controlled, graceful act. She inclined herself toward the ground in a profound gesture of reverence and awe. She wasn't falling down, she was bowing low. The introductions are made, and now we arrive at the final, powerful, culminating scene. Isaac takes this remarkable woman and brings her to her new home.
But he doesn't bring her to just any home. The text is so specific about this. He brings her into the tent of his mother, Sarah, the great matriarch who had died. Now, this is a hugely symbolic act. He's bringing her into the very heart of his family's legacy.
And this is the final mind-blowing reveal from Rashi. He teaches that while Sarah was alive, 3 supernatural signs were always present in her tent, but they vanished the moment she died. Then, as Rebekah steps inside, bam! All 3 miracles instantly return. The lamp that burns all week long from one Sabbath to the next, a blessing of abundance in the dough, and the divine cloud of God's presence hanging over the tent. This was the ultimate sign. Rebekah wasn't just a wife for Isaac, she was the rightful heir to Sarah's spiritual mantle.
And it is only then, after he sees that his mother's spiritual legacy has been restored through Rebekah, that the text says Isaac loved her, and that he finally found comfort after his mother's death. The void in his life was finally filled. So what starts as a simple matchmaking story becomes this incredible drama of divine will, human courage, and spiritual succession. And it leaves us with a question, right? How does knowing this director's cut, the story behind the story, change how you see the connection between love, legacy, and all the little miracles hidden in the details we might otherwise miss?